can't build a good Pokemon deck without any trainer cards in Pokemon Pocket. So today, we decided to tier list all the trainer cards from Genetic Apex in Pokemon Pocket. Hey guys, Zen here, welcome back to the channel, and today we're tier listing every single trainer card in Pokemon Pocket. We're including supporter cards, we're including fossils, we're doing them all. And the tiers are as follows. We have S tier, which are must-haves. We have A tier. These typically win games, right? If you play them correctly. We have B tier, which is meh. It's a trainer card. Yay. We have C tier, which are very niche trainer cards. Then we have D tier, which is you probably don't want to play these. With that, let's get started very quickly with our fossils. I'm going to put these in our niche tier because like you only really play this if you're running fossils or maybe something like Articuno 18 trainers, right? To have something to pivot back into. But yeah, they're pretty niche. Like you need them to essentially as a basic Pokemon to evolve into your stage 1 Kabuto or Ammonite. But one fossil you probably don't want to play is this one for Aerodactyl. I don't care what you guys say, I don't think Aerodactyl's good. It's a nice ability. It wins games if your opponent only has one Pokemon and you use its ability to not ability, but attack to flip heads. It deals 0 damage, but if you miraculously send a single Pokemon on your opponent's side back to the deck, yeah, you win. It's pretty cheeky, but you probably don't want to play this, right? Next up is Misty, and you think this would be a must-have, but I'm gonna put it in A tier. Let's be honest. This thing wins games. I guess you could argue it also loses games if you hit tails too often, but it definitely wins games. I wonder if they're gonna rework Misty in the future. Let me know in the comments if that's something you would want to see from Pokemon Pocket. A rework of some of these supporter cards. The next supporter card we're looking at is Erica, and I want to put it in B tier because I think it's higher than C tier, but it is really a niche thing. You only play this in grass type decks. But I guess, yeah, it's a trainer card that you really play in grass type decks. It doesn't win you games, but you definitely play this in grass type decks. So that's all we'll put it at. Moving on, we have Blaine here that wins you games. If you're running this with Ninetales, you're running this with Rapidash, even Magmar, this thing is insane. Your Ninetales deals damage for 120. Yes, please. Checkmate. Koga is another card that I'm going to put in wins games. Being able to retreat and bounce and get any Pokemon onto the, your active spot and then still bring back the Pokemon, your Muck or your Weezing that you just bounced, and then kind of just reset it up in the back line is a big middle finger to your opponent. Like all that damage you did to my Pokemon didn't mean anything. So yeah, I think Koga's pretty good. Next up is Giovanni, and I think Giovanni goes at the head of wins games for A tier because if you calculate your damage properly, if you're like a mathematician, Giovanni definitely wins games, right? Just adding that extra 10 damage a lot of times wins you games. So Giovanni, top of A tier. Moving on to Brock here. You know what? Now that I think about it, I'm gonna move Erica to the top of C tier and Brock as well. Right behind Erica. It's very niche. All these cards in the niche C tier, they require you to play a specific archetype. For Brock, Golem and Onyx, not even Geodude and Graveler, right? It's specific to Golem and Onyx. And Erica's a little bit better because it's broad, it's all grass types that it helps to sustain. So because of that, I think we're gonna keep them there. Moving on to Sabrina, I think Sabrina is a strong second. I don't think it's a must-have in your deck. Like, let's be honest, if you're running a Pidgeot deck, you definitely don't need Sabrina, right? But I think Sabrina and Giovanni may be interchangeable between the first spot for A tier. But for right now, I think Sabrina goes second because most of the time people are almost always running a Geo and a Sabrina because they're just so good. Our next and final supporter gym leader card, we still have another supporter card, is this one, Lieutenant Surge. And we're gonna put Lieutenant Surge in front of Koga because again, this thing wins games. If you are able to accelerate onto your Raichu that deals 140 damage, that is a good chunk of EX Pokemon that are just obliterated right there. It's pretty nuts, but it takes a lot of strategy, it takes a lot of setup and timing, and to catch your opponent off guard to really maximize on this Lieutenant Surge. All right, here we go. We have Potion here. It's a trainer card. It's a trainer card now. A lot of people are saying, no, you absolutely need this in your deck. That's your deck building philosophy. You can definitely build decks without potions and still win. It's not, you don't need it. It's not a must have. It doesn't win you games. So yeah, it's just a trainer card. Another trainer card is the red card. It's meh. It's not niche. It doesn't win you games. I mean, sometimes it could, but it's not consistent, right? Like you could honestly be using red card and helping your opponent. The only time I think red card is really advantageous is like something like Gardevoir or Mewtwo. They're the ones who typically even run red card to disrupt your hand and to allow them more time to set up their Mewtwo and get their Gardevoir online. But now we're moving on to some must-haves: Pokeball and Professor Research, aka Pot of Greed. We're just gonna put this one in the first spot because a 20 card deck, drawing 2 just thins it out. Like it helps you get to the cards that you really need. Pokeball is a must have, kind of also not a must have if you're running things like Articuno 18 trainer cards. But for the most part, most people are running at least 2, maybe 3 types of basic stage Pokemon. So Pokeball definitely helps you draw those, and it also thins out your deck. Next is what is this? Scope Lens, Hand Scope. It's a trainer card. Honestly, you probably don't play this. You know what? I'm gonna leave it in B tier for one reason and one reason only. It gives you information. It gives you information which can be very helpful in any sort of card game. To know what cards are in your opponent's hand helps you figure out, especially if you're understanding of the meta and what decks do. Now you're like, oh, I know what my opponent's next turn is, this turn and this turn. So we'll leave it in B tier. Pokedex doesn't really help you out. Knowing the next 3 cards on the top of your deck, cool. I guess you get advantage from using things like Pokeball and then reshuffling those cards if they're all like bricks, but you probably don't play it. You really don't. Which brings us to our final trainer card. And this might be a hot take, but I think at least 1 X speed needs to be in every single deck, especially to counter Sabrina. I think this thing is an amazing counter if most Pokemon have at least 1 retreat cost energy. This X speed just gets you to counter Sabrina for free, and you swap right back out into the Pokemon that was dealing damage. I love it. You don't have to run it. I put it in every single one of my decks, at least one of them, because again, being able to save energy and not burn your energy to retreat for the turn, because that's a whole turn that you just wasted your energy and gave your opponent more room to ramp, more room to get their Pokemon's onlines. So I think X speed is definitely a must-have. But there you guys have it. That is my tier list for every single trainer card currently in Genetic Apex for Pokemon Pocket. Let me know in the comments your thoughts and opinions. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next one.